Big thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Today we're going over Tesla's biggest news stories this past week, including why you may want to wait before buying a new Tesla vehicle, the Autopilot option that Tesla has brought back from the dead, and some interesting things Elon Musk talked about on his latest interview with Joe Rogan, including how next year's Roadster may literally be a flying car. First, let's talk about the big news from earlier this week when Tesla revealed that they invested $1.5 billion in Bitcoin, which is around 8% of their total cash that they have on hand. Now, this wasn't necessarily a huge surprise because Elon has been pretty openly supportive of cryptocurrency, especially after he posted some tweet storms about Dogecoin and added the Bitcoin hashtag to his Twitter profile. But even then, not many people expected Tesla to invest this large amount so quickly. Not only did Tesla invest in Bitcoin, but they said they also plan to begin accepting Bitcoin as their payment for their vehicles soon. So what does this all mean? Well, while Bitcoin is still a volatile digital currency and not widely used to pay for many things just yet, it has been on the rise recently and is believed by many to become a solid foundation for any type of transaction going forward, whether that transaction is person to person or person to business. Now, Tesla categorized its investment in Bitcoin as an alternative asset, which will hopefully diversify and maximize returns on their cash. So instead of $1.5 billion of cash sitting and potentially losing value to inflation, it can instead have the possibility of growing in value through Bitcoin. And if any car company is to step forward and be the first to accept Bitcoin as payment, it's Tesla, who has never been the type to stick to traditional, antiquated methods of selling cars. They don't have dealerships. They offer direct purchases online within 1 minute, which is quite honestly one of the most seamless transaction experiences I've ever had. And now I think you'll see more and more big companies start to accept Bitcoin for payment after Tesla has made this decision. My only question is, what tax implications will this have? For example, I posted this on Twitter. If you haven't followed me, go and follow me on Twitter @Sly. But if I bought one Bitcoin last year for $10,000 and now that one Bitcoin is worth $40,000, can I make a direct Bitcoin payment to Tesla and not pay any capital gains taxes on the $30,000 of profit, since technically the amount of Bitcoin I own never changed and it was sent directly to Tesla instead of converting it to cash first? I don't see the IRS letting that happen, but if that's the case, I wonder why anyone would want to trade their Bitcoin for a Tesla if they will have to convert it to cash first, or if they think Bitcoin will appreciate in value over time compared to their cash. It's very interesting to see how this all plays out. If you're interested in buying any Bitcoin, I'll leave my Coinbase referral link below so we can both get some free Bitcoin if you decide to buy a certain amount. Now, speaking of buying a Tesla, if you're in the US, you may want to wait as long as possible because you could potentially get a $7,000 tax credit with the newly proposed reform of the federal EV incentive program. If you didn't know, in the US, there has been a $7,500 federal tax credit incentive when buying a new electric vehicle. However, the current rules of the program are set so that the tax credit is unique to each automaker individually. So once a manufacturer delivers their 200,000th electric vehicle, then the tax credit begins to slowly phase out altogether for that manufacturer. Of course, Tesla was the first to sell 200,000 EVs, so they ran out of the tax credit completely in 2019. But the Democrats have now proposed a new bill called the Green Act to reform the federal EV tax incentives to help support renewable energy. Now, this bill will basically bring back the tax credit for companies like Tesla and GM who have already passed the 200,000 threshold, so they can regain access to a new $7,000 tax credit for 400,000 additional electric vehicles until a new phase-out period starts again. So while this hasn't made it through the entire legislative process yet, it should have a decent chance of being implemented since the Democrats now hold the House, Senate, and White House. Now keep in mind, this isn't a $7,000 refund, it's a $7,000 credit. So if this does get passed, and in order to take advantage of the full $7,000, you must owe at least that much in federal tax liability for the year you take delivery of the vehicle. If you owe less than $7,000 for federal income tax liability, you only get up to that amount for which you owe. Now, I was able to get the full $7,500 tax credit back in 2018 when I bought my Model 3, which was nice, but back then Tesla was sort of pricing their cars with that tax credit in mind. As soon after the credit started phasing out for Tesla, they started to reduce the price of their cars accordingly, so this new reform bill could obviously be a big win for consumers, given the fact that Teslas are priced very competitively right now. Now with this new tax credit, you could basically get a brand new Model 3 for around $30,000. My advice for any big purchase like a new car has always been wait as long as possible. Plus, Tesla does seem to be adding new features and changing their pricing and options pretty frequently. However, if you absolutely need a new vehicle now, or you just don't want to wait any longer, then by all means, don't inconvenience yourself just for the sake of fearing you're going to miss out on something. You're going to love the car no matter what. But just keep this tax credit in mind, and if you can wait, then it may be beneficial to do so. I mean, imagine getting a brand new tri-motor Cybertruck with over 500 miles of range for just over $60,000. I may need to get one if that's the case. Now, since I just mentioned Tesla changing pricing and options, let's talk about Tesla bringing back the enhanced Autopilot option for buyers in Europe. Currently in the US, there are only two options. You buy a brand new Tesla and you get Autopilot for free, and then you have the option of buying full self-driving for $10,000. They stopped offering enhanced Autopilot for US buyers a while ago. And if there's one item that Tesla has changed the pricing on the most, it is probably Autopilot and the many iterations, including the full self-driving option. And when I bought my Model 3 a few years ago, Tesla didn't include Autopilot for free like they do now. To get any Autopilot features, I had to buy what they called enhanced Autopilot for $5,000, and it was totally worth it because the majority of the useful features in the enhanced Autopilot package were moved to the full self-driving package, which now costs $10,000. But now in Europe and China, Tesla has brought back the option to buy enhanced Autopilot for 3,800 euros, which is around $4,500 US, and the package includes Navigate on Autopilot, Auto Lane Change, Auto Park, and Summon. Now, I think Tesla brought back this option mainly due to the restrictions and regulations in Europe regarding the full self-driving features. Tesla probably wasn't getting many FSD purchases from Europe customers, so maybe offering enhanced Autopilot to them makes sense, but we don't know how long that offer will be available. I personally have always been a big fan of enhanced Autopilot because you still get most of the useful features of full self-driving, but you're saving a lot of money. I'd love for Tesla to offer enhanced Autopilot as an option here in the US again, but I doubt that happens. We'll keep an eye on it though. Now, moving on to Elon's latest interview on the Joe Rogan podcast, Elon dropped some interesting tidbits about all kinds of stuff, but let's focus on the most exciting ones. Now, for me, the most exciting is regarding next year's Roadster, which was originally revealed back in 2017, so we've known for years that this supercar was going to be ridiculous. Back then, Tesla said it would go over 600 miles on a full charge and would be the world's quickest production car with a 0 to 60 speed of 1.9 seconds. Well, Tesla has made it seem that the Roadster will be even more impressive given the more affordable Model S Plaid Plus, which is coming later this year. And on the podcast, Elon said they timed the Model S Plaid Plus 0 to 60 at 1.94 seconds. That means the next-gen Roadster, which is at least $60,000 more than the Plaid Plus, should be even quicker than that. To top it off, Elon said he wants to make the Roadster hover. Yes, like hover in the air. Now, we've already known for years that Tesla was planning on offering a SpaceX package for the Roadster, which consists of small rocket thrusters to improve acceleration. But recently, Elon mentioned on Twitter that the new Roadster was part rocket and was asked if the new Roadster could fly, and Elon answered, a little. Now, nobody knew how serious Elon was in these tweets until yesterday when Elon told Joe Rogan that he wants to make the Roadster hover by putting thrusters underneath the car, but they haven't figured out exactly how to go about it. Elon said he wants it to hover without being dangerous, maybe up to 6 feet off the ground, so if you happen to blow out the suspension, you're not going to die. Joe then asked about the possibility of moving while hovering, which I think the term for that is called flying, and Elon said yes, but would be restricted to the amount of time in the air. However, Elon did admit that hovering might not be possible. At a minimum, Elon is confident Tesla could do a thruster where the license plate flips down James Bond style and there would be a rocket thruster behind it, which could give 3 tons of thrust. Now, I will admit, when I first heard about the SpaceX package, I was immediately a hard pass because I really want to keep my Roadster for years and actually be able to take my future family on road trips in it. So I was initially wanting the 4-seat edition for that reason. The SpaceX package, if you get it, it will take up the backseat area and make the Roadster a 2-seater. But now after Elon is mentioning more and more specific details about the SpaceX package and about this hovering, I may have to opt in for that because come on, if this thing can hover, I don't care if it's even just for 1 second, I'm getting that SpaceX package. No question. What do you think I should do? Let me know in the comments below. I can see me trying to explain myself to my wife now. Yeah, sorry babe, I just chose rocket thrusters over the needs of our children, no big deal. I think she'd understand, right? Now, if that's not interesting enough, what could be even more interesting is when Elon talked more about the future Tesla van. Elon briefly mentioned the possibility of a Tesla van during the most recent earnings call, but Elon talked more about it on the Joe Rogan's podcast and said that due to the van's design, it might actually make sense to equip it with solar panels due to the larger flat surface area. He also mentioned the possibility of having a retractable awning so that when the van is stationary, it could open up and provide shade while charging the van, maybe up to 30 miles of range per day. Now, this is a concept that Tesla mentioned in the past, but pertaining to the Cybertruck, which could have a solar roof option on the truck's bed that could charge up to 15 miles of range per day. Now, this is something that would be extremely beneficial for larger vehicles like these, and is something I do expect Tesla to actually make happen. They already sell solar roofs for houses, and they know the technology behind it. If they can just justify the price of including it in the future, then it would be a nice step forward. 15 to 30 miles a day would be huge, especially for camping. My friends and I sure could use that at Bonnaroo. Sleeping in a tent in the middle of summer in Tennessee is not a pleasurable experience by any means. And finally, this week, SpaceX opened up pre-orders to the public for their Starlink satellite internet service. If you have slow internet or no good high-speed internet options in your area, then I'd recommend signing up. All it requires is a $99 deposit, which is refundable, and once you sign up, you'll get a target coverage date of either 2021 or 2022 based on your location. The total charges, if you choose to go through with it, come to $499 and includes a Wi-Fi router and satellite dish, and the monthly charge for internet is $99 a month. Now, if you're not familiar, Starlink's public beta test began last year for people in the US, Canada, and UK with more than 10,000 customers in the 3-month span. And SpaceX already has more than 1,000 satellites in orbit, and they aim to build a network of tiny satellites that can beam high-speed internet to hard-to-reach locations. Now, Linus Tech Tips just did a video showing off his Starlink service and speed, so I'll link to that right here so you can check it out. I, of course, signed up for Starlink and got an estimated date of mid-2021, so if you want to see my review of Starlink when I get that, make sure you subscribe to be the first to see it. I think this is one of the most important and impactful projects for society as a whole because everyone needs to have access to affordable high-speed internet. It's crazy how far behind some countries are, including the US, in providing accessible, affordable, high-speed internet. Definitely looking forward to that. So that wraps up this week's Tesla news stories. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching. My name is Andy, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Today's sponsor is Skillshare, which is an online learning community with thousands of modern classes for creative and curious people just like me and you. It's one of the best places to explore new skills and build upon existing interests. Not only does Skillshare host classes on popular topics such as business, photography, and self-improvement, but it also serves as a strong community of like-minded people who all want to learn. I just finished Simple Productivity, How to Accomplish More with Less by Greg McKeown, the author of Essentialism. In that class, Greg teaches how to decide what's most important, strategies for saying no to things that aren't essential, how to be an essentialist in your day-to-day life, and simple methods to hold yourself accountable. I highly recommend it if you want to optimize your productivity. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, so there are no ads and they're constantly releasing new classes. And it's less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description below will get a free trial of premium membership, so don't miss out.